Hello and welcome to another episode of Unscripted on the Sofa, and this time it's going to be only me, Flavio, for a short one on 5 mistakes beginning street photographers make that we have found on our workshops. We can start from a very simple one: not knowing your camera equipment. When you're out there shooting, you need to be ready. You need to be concentrating on the image, on the fact that you have to find your subject, find your image, frame it, compose it, micro-compose it, find a juxtaposition. There is a million things to think about when you are taking a good street photograph, and having to fumble with your equipment, not knowing how your equipment is working, not being able to focus the camera properly, not being able to shoot on time. Those are all hindrances to what we should be really doing, which is concentrating on the image making. So like any good craftsman, we need to know our tools. So learn your camera, read that incredibly mysterious thing that's called a camera manual, pick it up, read it, and practice using that camera at home. Practice it shooting the family, practice it shooting your garden, shooting in your sitting room. Just practice. Get out there when you're shooting street photography, knowing your equipment. Next one is, are you actually shooting street photography? A lot of the attendees come in to our workshops or post on our Facebook page, and what we are seeing are not street photographs. They are urban landscapes. They are random shots of people. They are shots of something, but they really are not street photography. Street photography is a mindset. Is not just a shot on an image shot on the street. What you want is a candid street photography shot in a public place. That's what at its core street photography is. Candid entails some live subject in it, usually human, can be an animal, can be something else, or it can be just let's say suggesting the presence of a live subject, but doesn't even have to be necessarily alive, but it needs to be something that draws your eye, that draws your curiosity, a juxtaposition, a quirk, or something special. It's not just a shot of a street. The other one is shooting backs. Shooting backs is endemic in the street photography world, and unless there is a very, very good reason to have so many backs in the shot, it really doesn't work. It's not an interesting shot. And most people shoot backs because they're afraid to go around and come in front of people, shooting when their faces are showing, but then when they can see you shooting them. There are many techniques that you can use to be much less conspicuous when you're shooting, and we teach those in the workshops. But in reality, what we need to see is faces, is expressions, is recognizing that there are people and recognizing those people in the shot. That's what makes the shot more interesting. So don't be afraid, go in front, shoot people from the front. That's what we want to see. That's what makes the picture interesting. Another thing is moment or a point of interest in that image. A funny person or funny looking person, interesting looking person is not enough for making a street photograph. What you want is an interaction. You want an expression, a gesture, something that puts that interesting person in a context that creates a scene that doesn't only have that interesting person in the shot, has something else that adds to the picture, that enriches the experience for the viewer. Snapping a funny person on the street, anybody can do it. It's not street photography. We want to get something more in that picture to give it more interest, something for the viewer to dwell on the picture. Lastly, and this is a pet peeve of mine, or of ours actually, both me and Mark, is backgrounds. The vast majority of the photography that you see on the web, the street photography, the photographers have no awareness and no regards for the background. They just shoot whatever they see. They just find a funny scene, a quirky scene, something interesting, even though they actually looking at a true street photography subject that is it could be really interesting, could be a really good picture, and they have no awareness of the background, and most often this background is going to detract from the picture. It's going to confuse it, it's going to make it messy, it's going to make your eyes go everywhere but onto the subject. And you don't want that. You don't want that background to detract. You want the background to enrich the image. You want the background to support the subject, to make it stand out, and to be part of the picture and be a studied part of the picture. And again, this is something that we teach in our workshops, and I think it's so important for you to take that background into consideration and always have it in the back of your mind when you are shooting a street photograph. Think about the background, make it your mantra: background, background, background. Always think of the background, and your images will just go up a notch to another level. It's really important. And that's it. That's just the 5 mistakes that we have found to be some of the most important ones. And before leaving you, I just want to give you that extra little tip. Remember that just because your subject is in your picture doesn't make the picture about that subject. It is important. You need to make the viewer see the subject. You need to make the viewer discover what the subject is quickly, without having to look around all the time about that image to be sure what they're looking at. It's important. Think about it when you shoot the subject. Is it visible? So I'd say that is enough for this short one. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Subscribe and stay tuned for another episode. And next time with both me and Mark on Unscripted on the sofa. So thank you and goodbye.